92.5 ABC Central Coast, and it's a really lovely feature of the program when we catch up with the wonderful, enthusiastic, knowledgeable tutors at our Central Coast Community College. Frank Salter is one of them, and it's just amazing what they bring to the learning experience there at the college. Frank is teaching body language. G'day, Frank.
Hello. Hi, Scott.
I've got to sit on my hands, have I, to make sure that you can't read me? You'd be one good to have on your poker playing team, I'm sure.
It's not as bad as that.
It's not as bad as that.
So in the past, people have asked me, what do you do? And I say, I study body language. And they go, all quiet and very still. And I assure them, no, it's not quite as bad as that.
Yeah. What can people get out of this? What are the applications for it?
What I focus on is in social situations. And instead of reading in a lexical way, that she has her legs cross-facing away, therefore she's thinking that, or he's thinking that. It's more, for me, what is the status hierarchy? Who was nervous, who was not, why? So where power's coming from, and also how is the architecture affecting their behaviour? Architecture can affect social relations. And therefore, it's positive. It means you can shape it. If you wish, you can shape, and hence my company, by the way, is called Social Technologies. It's all about trying to get in and intervene in these chaotic processes and shaping them in the way you want.
So how could we set up at work to give us more privacy, more productivity? Is that something that you could tutor people
on? Yes, but indirectly, because what I provide is the theoretical tools for them to build their own experiences over time. The course at the college there'll be 4 sessions, 4 2-hour sessions. So it's not, it would have to go on for years to produce experts. What I can provide is the theory, a theoretical framework on which they can hang their experiences as the years go by, and then make sense of it more and more. Because, we're all very good at body language. The average human being plucked from the street is better than a super computer at reading facial expression, for example, or understanding cues in real time. We do it very fast and subconsciously. We don't even have to think about it. It just happens in the back of our mind.
And that intuitive ability to live in this herd environment, if you don't have that, things are pretty tough, aren't they?
It's really tough. The extreme example is autism. An autistic person in the trade, it's called, they lack a theory of mind. And we all have subconsciously a theory of mind. So when someone does something, smiles, laughs, we understand what motivates that without trying to understand. We know, this person's happy, or they're unhappy, they're stressed. And an autistic person, they see the emotion, they see the signals, but they can't read them. They're thrown back on their conscious thinking. And it's simply inadequate.
And what are the benefits of having a bit of knowledge about this? As you say, the course is designed just to give people a broad brush idea of how this works. But what are the advantages of having some knowledge in this field?
With an idea of how this fits together, one can then begin to modify one's behaviour, as is feasible, because we're all different personalities and so on. But one of my lessons is don't try and be inauthentic. Be yourself, but within that range, there's a lot that you can do. You can begin to, for example, communicate better, look more in the eyes, but understand how not to go overboard.
I'm staring at you.
To give one example, a common piece of advice in body language pep talks is mimic the behaviour of the person you're talking with. Well, yes and no. It can be the worst thing you can do to mimic the behaviour. For example, if you're trying to maintain authority and you slavishly copy what the other person's doing, that is a subordinate behaviour. That's giving the other person leadership, unspoken leadership, to mimic them. So do it if you want to put the other person at ease. Do it if you think you're being threatening. Do it if you want to be subordinate. For example, if you want to make your boss feel comfortable that you're not challenging him with some aggressive pose, start just gently mimicking behaviour, and that will relax the other person. But if you want to be authoritative, you need to be authentic and sovereign. That's a nice word. You need to be sovereign is not to copy other people. So, so with those ideas in mind, we can then over time begin to shape our behaviour in a more adaptive way.
Is this why politicians and keynote speakers hide behind lecterns and dispatch boxes and things like that? I don't know.
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. Actors, for example, I've studied actors in rehearsal, and they will get a senior actor, very experienced, or a master of the stage, will freak out if the desk is moved. For example, I've seen an actress say, "Where was the desk?" A prop, right? Where was the desk that was here yesterday? Why is it changed? Why? They've become nervous because they want to control their environment as much as possible. So often speakers will hide behind a lectern and not look at the audience and so on.
Having a rolled up document and wielding it like an axe, that's always a good one in political circles, isn't it?
Yes,
probably nothing in it, but you just have that.
I've also observed courts, and I've watched a senior barrister waving a document that was blank.
Yeah,
I could see flick through it and it was blank where I was.
Yeah,
but the witness couldn't see it, and he needed that prop. He needed that. But there are other. It's clear that leading politicians receive lessons. They receive training in this. It's clear. For example, avoiding apology, avoiding the negative. You watch but
that's counterproductive, I think, in this climate, because things that go wrong and just promises that can't be kept and things like that. People would have a lot more empathy and sympathy if they just fessed up.
I agree.
And you don't touch your nose. That's important, isn't it?
But the default condition, the default, I'm afraid, has been never admit error. Never say, yes, I got it wrong. Those words will be quoted, so avoid those words. So it's sort of an arms race going on.
I wouldn't see that as a weakness. I'd see that as a strength. I'd find that as really refreshing in a politician, actually.
Yes, no, I agree. Did you watch the Joe Hockey interview on Q&A? It was just Joe with Tony Jones, and he came under considerable pressure. It was interesting to watch that from a body language point of view, and he was flinching on occasion, and he felt exposed. But towards the end, he began saying, yes, you're right. We said that and we didn't, He fessed up to a certain point, and I thought that softened his image considerably.
All of a sudden, you realised, okay, well, that's the case, but they're sticking to their guns, sort of thing. And yes, I agree with you. I think that created far more empathy but I always have empathy for the person in the position that he was in too, regardless of what side of politics they're on. I think sometimes if someone's back's against the wall and you see that they're being put upon from all sides, regardless of you feel sympathy for them too, don't you? So I guess people attacking politicians have to be very careful about the way they do it, because they can turn the attack to the advantage of the other.
Yes, and in that example, for those who saw that Q&A, people in the audience, of course, are not disciplined politicians, and they were sometimes over the top in their aggression.
Getting a bit personal,
and one thing Joe Hockey did very well was he at no stage attacked even the most aggressive person, aggressive questioner. He maintained a civility, and he had to, because if he had slipped, the sympathy would have shifted immediately to the audience, and he was disciplined.
And what about his body language, gestures? What did you pick up from his gestures in that situation? Because you see a man under great pressure.
He was
being attacked. Yeah,
I thought he was good. I think he showed good control. He looked a bit too often towards Tony Jones. I would have advised him. Very difficult to get these things perfectly
And why
right.
do you think he was doing that?
It was natural, because Tony Jones was interacting with him and was moderating the event. But it seemed to me, in turning a bit too often to Tony Jones, that subordinated him to a point. It made him look a little bit nervous, a little bit unsure. It was all right. It was within bounds. But I would have advised just do that little bit less.
And isn't it hard on television, because that's our eyes. We're looking at them through this lens, and if they're not making contact, then it immediately looks shifty. And here in the radio studio, I've got to look at that screen, and I've got to get the mouse going, and I've got to think about the next CD I'm going to play and whatnot. So I'm distracted, but still listening. But if you do that on television, you look like you've got something to hide, don't you? Your eyes darting around.
From the late 50s, especially in America where it really began, television began, the demands on politicians have gone up inexorably. And the classic example of that is the debate between Nixon and Kennedy in Nixon's first run for the White House. And Nixon sweated profusely. And Kennedy was this natural, telegenic, cool, sexy guy, and this carried the audience. And it was not expected because Nixon had a keen intellect and had many good points to make, but he just looked so bad. He had a 5 o'clock shadow. He had a pronounced dark 5 o'clock shadow. That also counted against him. This is terribly unfair, but it's reality. And politicians are under tremendous pressure now to be able to perform on these intimate media that, as you say, can bring the full face in close-up to our screen. And in a way, this takes us back to our hunter-gatherer days when leadership was very much face-to-face. There were no institutions, there was no bureaucracy, there were no kings, and a person had to lead 1 metre away from you and convince you to do something, go hunting or defend the group or whatever it might be.
They should have stuck to the fireside chat on the radio. Churchill used the radio to great advantage. Other Eisenhower, all the great leaders, that was the go, wasn't it? Menzies, this as long as you had a nice, rich voice, you could really inspire the people and get right into their imagination without the distraction of what you look like.
Well, the fireside chats, Roosevelt was the first, I think, to make really strong use of that, and others followed. The fireside chat was a radio phenomenon, but already the radio is intimate with the voice tone, for example, and the immediacy of it, and it's in your lounge room. So the family would gather around and listen. Yes, the fireside chat already was taking us back to our origins.
Yeah, the King's Speech was a great example of that, wasn't it? The King's Speech was fantastic.
Yes.
Look, it's such an interesting topic, isn't it? It leads you to so many places.
Oh, it's huge.
And
it's far beyond the scope of a short course. But some theory can be injected to give people a framework.
No, it's great. Thanks so much for talking to us. It's just a wonderful variety of courses, and it's what the enthusiastic tutors bring to the table that I like about Central Coast Community College. It's community-driven from both the people going and also the people teaching. It's terrific.
So they have a wonderful tableau of subjects.
Yeah,
and remarkably well-qualified.
Cosmology to body language.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's phenomenal.
Frank Salters, thanks so much for joining us. If people would like to know more, they can go onto the Central Coast Community College website and book for the course, Pip, can they?
Yes, indeed they can. So just Google Central Coast Community College. You can enrol online or call us at the college, 4348 43.